Hi there. I'm Beth Gemmel, and welcome to the very first Soulful Sunday. I was having tech issues, so we're going to do backup and just record it and know that if you have any questions or you can visit this at any time. I'm going to upload it to the YouTube channel as soon as I'm done. So, first, let's get started with me introducing myself. Think of me as your guide to untangling invisible energy knots, embracing your inner magic, and creating a life that flows with purpose and ease. For those of you meeting me for the first time, hello, I'm so glad you're here. And for the skeptical part of you, yes, I see you. Rest assured, my understanding of energy isn't just abstract or mystical. I've studied energy from multiple angles as an electrical engineer, a lawyer, a shaman, a Reiki master, and a certified EFT practitioner. So I bring both practical tools and spiritual insight to the table, blending science and soul to create real tangible shifts so that you can create a life that you love. So the topic we're going to talk today is building foundations. We're going to be focusing on building the foundations of Soulful Sundays. I'll dive a little bit deeper into some of the frequent elements that we're going to use so we can establish a shared understanding and refer back to it in the future. For this week's Soul Talk, I'm going to explain the cosmic weather report in more detail. Why is this important? Because it highlights the external energies that influence us, energies we absorb, interact with, and bring through our own systems. While I'll always include a short weather report, I won't always spend as much time as I will this week. But I thought it was important because this week's energies are anticipated to be some real humdingers. I want to bring them to your awareness so you can navigate them with greater understanding and intention. But before we get to that, I'm a scientist first. I'm always going to invite you to gather data and evaluate your energetic experiences. Energy is invisible, but absolutely not imaginary. And while we don't have a physical tool to measure it yet, we can tune into our system and use our inner awareness as a guide. So, right now, I invite you to just take a moment and check in with yourself. Do a scan of your body, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how much resistance, stress, or tightness do you feel in your body? 1 being no resistance to stress at all, and 10 being extremely intense. Here's something to keep in mind about energy. After we clear it, you might experience what I call energetic amnesia. This means that in hindsight, the issue might not seem as intense as it really was when it first happened, when you first felt it. That's why it's important to capture the data now before we move forward. So take a deep breath, tune in, and notice where you feel the resistance, stress, and tightness in your body. Give it a number from 1 to 10, and then write it down on a piece of paper with you, or drop it in the comments below with a label of before so you can come back and look to see the difference. So another thing we're going to be doing for laying the foundations is something I affectionately call explicit agreements. And I believe that building new conscious communities requires explicit agreements, agreements that are clear, intentionally chosen, free from manipulation disguised as reading the room or relying on some subjective determination of common sense. When we have an intentional meeting of the minds and we agree on what that information is, these agreements foster trust and create a solid foundation for growth, ensuring everyone feels aligned and respected. Have you ever been in a space that was described as safe, yet felt anything but safe for you? That's the kind of disconnect we aim to avoid through clarity and intentionality. As we move forward, I'll expand on these agreements based on the container, the level of interactions, and the synergy we cultivate together. For now, we're going to begin with the guiding principle, inspired by Bruce Lee. Take what is useful, discard what is not, add what is uniquely your own. This means allowing your full self to be present, engaging with an open heart and mind, taking in what resonates deeply with your soul, and releasing what doesn't, all while honoring your unique perspective and truth. So you may notice, or perhaps you won't. Either way, that's perfectly fine. But I've created a container for us to share as sacred space. So, what is sacred space? Sacred space isn't bound by time or physical location. It means that if you're watching this on replay, whether tomorrow or 10 years from now, the space has been intentionally created to include you. I've called in frequencies of unconditional love to protect, nourish, and support us within this space. Think of it like this. Would you ever consider making a salad without a bowl? Right. Sacred space is like the salad bowl. While we don't have a physical container, this sacred space holds and supports the energy we're sharing here. So, why is this important? Sacred space allows us to be fully present, free from distractions or outside influences. It's a place where energy feels safe and focused, creating the ideal environment for growth, healing, and connection. If it feels right to you, I invite you to welcome into this sacred space your highest self, the most aligned and wise version of you, and call in any benevolent beings such as guides, angels, well and wise ancestors, or any supportive energy that aligns with the frequencies of unconditional love and is truly worthy of trust. While some energies may appear helpful, not all operate from pure intentions of love. If you're unsure, simply set the intention to invite only those beings and energies that serve your highest good and the highest good of all, and that are rooted in unconditional love. So now we're going to move on to creating an intention. The intention for gathering together, intention for being in community. Energy can exist in two states, as a particle or as a wave. As a particle, it might just be hanging out, static, with no real direction or speed. As a wave, it becomes dynamic, flowing with intention towards a destination. If you feel like being a particle today, that's perfectly fine. Hang out, relax, and simply allow the energies to wash over you. However, if it feels right to you, I invite you to set your intention for our time together. Think of this intention as a way to direct attention and focus, aligning the energies we share with purpose and impact. Your intention doesn't need to be complex. It can be as simple as to open up to my highest good. By setting an intention, you're creating alignment with a specific outcome or feeling, a guiding light for our shared experience. This is your moment to connect with what feels most meaningful or supportive to you. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what do I need most right now? What would serve my highest good in this moment? Trust whatever comes up and let it shape your intention. When energy is directed with purpose, transformation becomes not just possible, it becomes inevitable. So now we're going to get present using my technique called big magic. Big as in B for breath, intention, and gratitude. And when you're all done, it just feels like magic. But what's going on with big magic is that we're actually intentionally creating coherence in our bodies. So our minds and our hearts and everything is working together on the same frequencies to put us in alignment. So if it feels good, I'm going to invite you to put a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly and close your eyes. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to take 15 breaths. That's it. That's all this is. So on this first breath, breathe deep down into your belly. And we choose to be right here and right now. On this next breath, we unhook from every moment that happened before this one. On this next breath, we every moment after this one. On this next breath, we know that being present is our purpose. And on this last breath here, we know that we are safe. And on this next breath, we go up into our mind and thank our mind for all the amazing things that it does for us without us even needing to be in control. Pumping our heart, filling our lungs with air. On this next breath, we thank our mind for its curiosity, its discernment, its ability to see things in a new way. On this next breath, we thank our mind for its knowledge and its wisdom that it has for us in any moment. On this next breath, we thank our mind for keeping us safe. And on this last breath here, we thank our mind for being in service to our hearts. On this next breath, we drop down into our hearts and know that we are safe. On this next breath, we know that we are surrounded in love and we're willing to be open to receive that love fully. And on this next breath, we tune into our hearts and we ask our hearts, what do I need to know today? What do I need to hear? And when you feel complete, wiggle your fingers and toes and come back to present moment and say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, magic. It just feels so good. So now we're going to jump into the cosmic weather report. And we're going to start with a disclaimer because I am not an astrologist. I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm not a trained astrologist. I just like the information and I appreciate and can do my research for that. But there are so many amazing people out there with deep experience and unique gifts in astrology. If it resonates with you, I encourage you to go seek out someone who feels good for you and your system. And then come share it with us. Let us know who you're finding that you really like. Where my talent lies is in using the general awareness of cosmic energy to help provide context for everyday life. So, what's the Cosmic Weather Report? The Cosmic Weather Report's a forward look at the energy influences anticipated for this week through the lens of astrology. Like a weather forecast helps you prepare for the physical environment, this report helps you to navigate the shifting cosmic energies with awareness and intention. Right? Imagine if you could grab an umbrella when the cosmic energies were going to throw you some hail. So it gives us the opportunity, and it also gives us the opportunity to look back next week and reflect on how these energies actually showed up in our lives. What did we experience? How did we respond? And what we learned along the way. And for my skeptics, but Beth, isn't astrology fake? For me, my perception of astrology changed when I stopped looking at it to predict exact events and control outcomes. And instead, I saw it as a symbolic language used to describe the energies and patterns at play in the world and within ourselves. Think of it like a mirror. It reflects possibilities and provides tools for self awareness and intentionality. It doesn't cause things to happen, but it can offer insights into recurring themes and emotional dynamics and areas of growth. Scientifically speaking, astrology isn't a hard science in the way of physics and biology, but that doesn't mean it's fake. Many people find astrology valuable as a framework for understanding themselves, their relationship, and the world. And you better believe that those billionaire bros have one, if not multiple, astrologers on their staff. Whether or not you believe it, astrology invites reflection, curiosity, and self-discovery. It's not about convincing you to believe. It's about seeing if insights resonate with you. If it doesn't, that's okay. If it does, it can be a powerful tool for self-exploration and co-creation with the universe. I always like to say, it's like ice cream or ice cream with whipped cream and sprinkles and cherries on top. At the end of the day, it's still ice cream. It's still good. But take what you like and leave the rest. And here's an analogy for deeper understanding. One analogy I like to use is that these energies are like water. You can move through life unconscious of them, standing in the path of a fire hose and getting soaked without any planning or awareness, only feel frustrated and upset about being wet. Or you can bring a container to collect the water, position yourself in a way that works best for you, and then allows you to use those energies intentionally in a way that serves you. Have you ever done an experiment where you use colored water to change the color of white carnations? For example, you add red food coloring to the vase of water and place white carnations in it. And then after a few days, the flowers absorb the color and create pink or red edges around the carnations. If you haven't tried it, it's a fun and fascinating experiment. And Valentine's Day is coming. It could be fun. But astrology works in a similar way. The energies from the universe mix with our own energies in our system, and together we co-create something that's uniquely ours, nourished and influenced by these cosmic forces. It's important to note that the planets don't emit the energy. Instead, the planets' positions simply act as markers and indicators of where the energies are in play, of which energies are in play at any given time. So now we're going to jump into the actual report. So yesterday, Ziggy is here. He would like to make himself known. So yesterday, January 25th, 2025, was something that was called the Parade of Planets. Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. They all aligned. It was a really rare celestial event. Go look up in the sky. You could probably still see them. But what does that mean energetically? So when multiple planets align, it amplifies their influence. Each planet carries its own symbolic energy as well as being part of the greater collaboration with the other planets in the alignment. This particular alignment is ushering in an entirely new energy field that will introduce a new understanding of power throughout the collective consciousness. This is just the beginning of an overall arc that's going to happen from now until 2044. So be on the lookout, be curious, see if you notice this new energy field. Many are already feeling, I call it itchy and scratchy, right? Like you just feel something is going on, but you can't put your finger on it. So then we also have a new moon this week on Wednesday, January 29th, 2025. But it's not just any new moon, it's the lunar new moon. So a new moon marks the beginning of the lunar cycle. And since this is the first new moon of the year of 2025, this is the lunar new year where we start a new cycle. This year is the year of the snake with influences from the wood elements. So what does that mean energetically? Individuals will are being called to engage in self-reflection, to go inside, to embrace change and pursue personal growth. It's a time to trust your intuition and be open to new opportunities. Deep insight and intuition builds trust. Build trust with your inner guidance and seek knowledge. Do you know the difference between intuitive nudges and societal programming? This one's going to be important. A lot of people say, I go with my gut. A lot of times, gut's programmed with societal programming. It's not necessarily intuition. So start paying attention. Look to see if you can find those distinctions. For me, they feel different. For me, the intuition. So my primary sense is claircognizance. So it's a knowing, but I don't know how I know, and I don't know when I know, and it just sort of pops in my head. So it takes a really, took a really long time for me to figure out that it wasn't me actually having those thoughts, but actually like it was part of my energetic gifts. And so it comes in as a quiet voice. And a lot of times it is counter to what society says, right? So it's not work until you completely collapse. It's not push through. It's stop and rest. It's be kind to yourself, be compassionate to yourself. It's a little bit softer, whereas the societal programming is very it always feels very square peg round hole, right? Like it is very exacting, and the exacting parts are always required to get rid of something that is the heart of me and my authenticity, not um not some excess, right? So another part that's coming up with this new moon is transformation and renewal. Again, this is the year of the snake. So it's time to go blue. It's time to shed skin and dive into personal growth and embracing change. Adaptability and resilience is another theme that will be coming up. Navigate various environments, highlighting the importance of flexibility. If you haven't heard it yet, one of the underlying things going on here is stubbornness and inflexible mind is not going to be advantageous right now. So if you are one of those who takes great pride in your tenacious stubbornness, maybe now is the time to start leaning into that a little bit, getting curious about it. So then another thing going on this week is Uranus stations direct on Thursday, January 30th. So what does that mean? So Uranus was in, or Uranus, I've heard it so many different ways. But it was in retrograde. And what retrograde means is that planets appear to us from the Earth, from our perspective, to move backwards, right? But it's not actually moving backwards. It's just the axial paths of the planets and the path of the Earth and all of that stuff. So it's just appearance of moving backwards. But then going direct means that the planet appears to resume move forward motion. And so Uranus went retrograde on September 1st, 2024. Take a minute, think of the context of all of that. So our entire election cycle was in the retrograde window of Uranus. So what does that mean? Energetically, what does that mean? So the themes of your Uranus is rebellion, innovation and progress, sudden changes, unpredictability, freedom and liberation, awakening. The energy is often disruptive, but ultimately transformative. So it's not disruptive for the sake of being disruptive. It has the ultimate goal of getting us to a better place, to a higher perspective. So shaking things up to break outdated patterns and encourage growth. It invites us to embrace change, even if it feels uncomfortable. And the final big thing that's going on this week on Friday and the January 31st and Saturday, February 1st, is that Venus is on the move, just like Ziggy. And so just take a moment, just put all this in context, right? We have to think about the hologram. We have to think about how this all works together, right? Venus is the planet of love, right? So we're coming into Valentine's Day windows, right? And so many of the things that are baked into a collective consciousness have a lot to do with the energies of astrology and the cosmos. And we've just never noticed, and no one has made those correlations. So when Venus is on the move, it's conjunct Neptune and the moon, I think. It brings with it themes of universal love, spirituality, and creativity. It reminds us to practice kindness and compassion, deepening our connection with others, which is really hard when others are prickly like a porcupine and they're out intentionally trying to take human rights away from other people. So this is where so just try and stay present as much as you can. Practice the sacred pause as much as possible. Take deep breaths. Remove yourself from situations that are not there. Speak up when it is necessary, and stay grounded and centered in yourself. And this is why I love tapping so much, because tapping results in that, and I don't have to think about it. It's not that hard for me. It just happens. And it's such a practical tool will support you in grounding and centering yourself so that you have everything you need to call on kindness and compassion. And you can do that from a conscious response rather than an energetic reaction. And we're back. So now we're going to jump in to the tapping portion. And if you're not familiar with tapping, tapping works with the natural science of your body to intentionally create presence in your energy system. Presence is the gateway to everything you desire: peace, healing, joy. Using our fingertips will gently apply pressure to the specific acupuncture points. This sends a calming signal to your brain, reassuring it that all is well and you are safe. I'll guide you through the process using a call and repeat format. I'll say a statement and you repeat it after me while you're tapping. I have a unique approach to tapping, and it includes 4 intentional rounds. First round, we focus on the energy and where you feel the sensations of energy in your body. In the second round, we center and ground ourselves. In the third round, there are no words. I invite you to take this opportunity to tune directly into the energy, noticing any insights it may have for you. If it feels right, you can also focus on releasing it from your body. And in the final round, we'll seal in the healing. We'll finish the healing with a closing affirmation to anchor the experience. If you're new to tapping or unfamiliar with the points, no worries, just follow along with me and let's get started. So I created this tapping script for navigating overwhelm, confusion, and exhaustion for change. So take a deep breath, exhale all the air out of your lungs. Take a deep breath into your belly. And we're going to start on the karate chop. Even though I feel overwhelmed by everything shifting and changing so quickly, I honor how I feel and give myself permission to process this. Even though I feel confused and exhausted by the energy of this new transition, I choose to ground myself and reconnect with my inner calm. Even though this week has left me feeling unsteady, I choose to be right here and right now. I'm going to go up to the eyebrow point. This heavy energy swirling around me. Side of the eye. I feel overwhelmed by all the changes. Under the eye. It's hard to make sense of everything happening. Under the nose, my mind feels foggy and tired. Chin, confusion is weighing on me. Collarbones, exhaustion is sinking into my body. Under the arm, this energy feels chaotic and ungrounded. Top of the head. I don't know how to process it all right now. My brow. I honor how overwhelming this feels. Outside of the eye, I choose to release what isn't mine to carry. Under the eye, I'm grounding myself in this moment. Under the nose, my mind is allowed to rest and find clarity. Chin, I let the confusion begin to soften. Collarbones, my body is releasing the heaviness. Under the arm, I am reconnecting with my inner peace. Top of the head, I trust in my ability to move through this with grace. And this round is the round with no words. So I'm just going to point out the points. So eyebrow, breathing into the sensations outside of the eye. Under the eye. Under the nose. Chin. Collarbones. Under the arm. Top of the head. Eyebrow point. I feel myself returning to center. Outside of the eye, I am grounded and supported by the earth. Under the eye, my energy is calming and settling. Under the nose, I am reconnecting with my inner wisdom. Under the chin, I release what no longer serves me. Collarbones, I feel lighter and more at ease. Under the arm, I am aligned with peace and resilience. Top of the head, I am ready to face what's next with calm and clarity. Take a deep breath and place your, if it feels good, place your hand on your heart and a hand on your belly and repeat after me. I am grounded, calm, and connected to my inner peace. I release the energy of overwhelm and confusion. I trust in my ability to navigate this transition with grace and strength. Okay. So now I'm going to give you my practical tip of the week. This week, stop watching the news. And let me be clear, I'm not suggesting you unplug from reality or bury your head in the sand. What I'm saying is find a different way to consume the news. Televised news presents several challenges. Number one, your brain doesn't know the difference. The human brain struggles to distinguish between something happening in your immediate environment and something happening that you saw on TV. As a result, everything feels more urgent and magnified, leaving you more stressed. Number two, the energetic impact. While I can't prove it yet, as a clairsentient, someone who feels energy, I often sense disorienting frequencies or signals when the news is on. Sort of like the snow that we used to have on television, broadcast television, but a lot pricklier. It's not just snow, there's like something to it. This energetic noise can leave you feeling drained and unsettled, and you don't even know why. Don't take my word for it. Do your own experiment. Here's how. Measure your anxiety and stress levels before and after watching the news. Take a break from it altogether for a day or two and notice how you feel the following morning. While some benefits might be immediate, in my experience, it often takes a little bit of time for the full impact to register in your energetic system. But give it a try. See if changing the way you consume the news improves your well-being. And now, as we bring this first Soulful Sunday to a close, I want to thank you for being with me today. I'm so grateful to begin building this beautiful community with you. And take a moment to tune into yourself and notice how you feel right now. We're going to check back in on a scale of 1 to 10. How are you feeling now compared to when we started? Document your number. Either write it down on a slip of paper or share it in the comments with the title after. If it feels good, take an internal snapshot of how you feel in this moment. In times of stress this week, you can revisit this image and reconnect with the feeling of balance and ease. And you can always come back and do the meditation or the tapping script. So once you've documented these changes, we're going to gently release this sacred space. So remember, it was here, and we give thanks to this space, which has held us, and we reconnected with ourselves. We release this golden circle now, asking it to dissolve into the earth and to provide nourishment wherever it is needed. If you enjoyed this session, I invite you to share a reflection, an aha moment, or a key takeaway in the comments. And if it feels aligned, I encourage you to share this session with someone who might find it meaningful without attachment to the outcome. If you have any questions or want to explore anything deeper, feel free to reach out to me at beth@bethgemmell.com. BETH@BETHGEMMELL.com. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful week. Bye.